The following is a presentation of the Hello Chicago Network.
Five in their head-to-head battle. A swing and a drive, deep right field. It's got a chance. Gone. Three-run homer, Ian Happ. Cubs lead 3-0.
Once again, the first inning for the Cubs strikes. Ian gets a pitch up and in his wheelhouse, and he hammers this ball. Line drive rocket to the bleachers in right, and you can't get much louder here at Wrigley Field.
Listen to this crowd.
Ian Happ with just his third hit of the series, and it's his biggest one yet.
Hello Chicago Network is on the air. Hello everybody, I am Ryan Yannishadas, and it is time to focus for this Friday, October the 10th, and what a time to focus. And as ladies and gentlemen, we got a game 5. Did we expect this after? I mean, when we talked to you on Monday, this was a series with 1-0 Brewers. So we're going to talk about all 3 of the games leading up. Then we're going to take a break. Then we're going to preview game 5. Again, this is going to be a baseball only show, and we'll get into those winter sports whenever the Cubs tell us to get into those winter sports. So obviously we'll get into the Bears and all that. We'll get into that on Monday. Or because we won't be recapping a game until a week from today for the Bears. It feels like it's been forever, but now it's about the Cubs and the Brewers National League Division Series. It's time now to some of my headlines from all 3 games. First, let's go back to game 2. Cubs already down 1-0 in the series. Monday night, 8 p.m. game in Milwaukee. 1 pitch away for Shota Imanaga. What a job by Seiya Suzuki. 3-run homer gives the Cubs a 3-0 lead. Where you're starting to feel confident. You're starting to feel better. Then all of a sudden, you get Shota, I think, got the first 2 guys out. Next 2 guys get on. Andrew Vaughn comes up, 1 pitch away from getting out of it, hits a 3-run homer. The game is tied. Then all of a sudden, a little bit later on, Shota gives up the big home run to William Contreras, makes it 4-3. Then the 3-run homer off Daniel Palencia to Jackson Churio, 7-4. And it is a 2-0 series lead for the Milwaukee Brewers after Monday. It would just you're kind of planning your funeral at that point. And the Brewers, kudos to them. They proved that they can win baseball games. In game 1, they did it with small ball. They smacked the ball all over the place. In game 2, they did the long ball, 3 home runs. So the Brewers proved, like I said, they could win either way. And they earned my respect after that game because you're just like, there's no way to be able to stop them. Jacob Mizorowski came out of the bullpen, pitched phenomenal. And the Brewers were able to set the tone for the series and for the opportunity to celebrate at Wrigley Field and even possibly sweep their division rival. So that goes to game 2. Off day on Tuesday. Wednesday, game number 3. Top of the first could have been way worse. I believe the Brewers only got 1 run in that stretch. But by the way, if you missed the first inning to half of most of these games, you've missed everything. The Cubs have scored in the first inning in every single game so far. But the first inning could have been worse. The Brewers only get 1. That's okay. Bottom half, Cubs Michael Busch answers right back with a solo shot. And then first guy to have 2 leadoff home runs, I believe, to either the first baseman, whatever the stat is, he made history. 2 leadoff home runs in the playoffs and ties the game. Then the base is loaded and a PCA gets his moment. Base hit, scores 2, 3-1. Kind of feel you wanted more, but you don't want to get too greedy. Murph used 3 starters. I think this is where the tide turned when it comes to managing. In this series, I think Murph he also showed his hand having Jose Quintana pitch in this game because that meant the Cubs knew halfway through this game that if there was a game 4, Freddie Peralta would be the guy. They had Quinn Priester, former Chicago native, came in there, couldn't even get out of the first inning. That was huge. Then obviously you had Quintana, and then later had Chad Patrick, who also pitched in game 4. So I think that's where the momentum turned. I mean, Craig Counsell had a rough first game of this. I think starting Matthew Boyd in the game 1 is set him back in game 1 and set him back in game 2. but they were able to bounce back, and I think it evened out after just having to use all these guys in game 3, and the Cubs end up winning that one of a final of 4-3. Dramaless ninth inning, but besides that, almost every inning there was something going on. You were waiting for the Brewers to come back. Like there was a chance. I mean, Jake Bauers had an opportunity after the home run, and he came up with 2 on. I'm like, I almost felt like old Yeller. I'm like, just take me out back. If they want to give me the gut punch, do it now, get it over with. But they didn't. They battled back. Great job by the Cubs to be able to win that one. Game 4, and you saw it to open the show. Ian Happ, 3-run homer, probably the biggest home run of his career. Sets the tone, 3-0. They don't even get, and what they got Peralta's pitch count up. I said it from the get-go that having Matthew Boyd pitch at home and then Freddie Peralta on the road on short rest, I felt this was the matchup. Both matchups favor the Cubs. That's exactly what happened. Tyone pitched phenomenal in game 3. Matthew Boyd dealt in game 4. Happ sets the tone with the 3-run homer, and then the home cooking by Matthew Boyd, 13-1 at the friendly confines for Matthew Boyd. And after that tough start, he's able to regroup, rebound, and come out here and give the Cubs a playoff victory. And Kyle Tucker gets the home run, making it 5-0. Michael Busch with an exclamation point, making it 6-0. I know it could have been 7 with the 2-run homer that went around the pole. It didn't even matter. Cubs bullpen shuts the door. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a game 5. We're going to get into that in just a minute, but I'm just so proud of this baseball team, the way they've been able to scratch and claw. No, I mean, Cub, I thought, I mean, I've told Brewer fans this for all week that I felt like it was going to be the Cubs were favored in the 2 games at home. You heard it from Pat Murphy. You heard it from the Cubs. Wrigley Field is a home field advantage. The way the stadium, it's a 2-decker and the fans are on top of you. That is different than the new ballparks now. The crowd was loud. TBS had to turn the crowd noise down on their microphones. It was so loud. Wrigley Field is a home field advantage. Having Tyone, who pitched the elimination game in the wild card, and then Matthew Boyd in game 4, who's pitched so great at Wrigley. Cubs had the pitching numbers, the pitching advantage through the 2 games at home. I was confident in that, but could the bats come alive? They finally scored. I mean, they scored in the first inning again, but they also were able to score in other innings, and things looking up for the Chicago Cubs, and the series is tied 2-2. I'll give my gut instincts about game 5. We'll talk about that coming up. Well, also we have no clue who's going to be starting these games. I'll talk about that. So it should be fun as the Cubs have evened the series with the Brewers, and we have a game 5 tomorrow night. All the information, all that coming up. But first, we're going to have a Ryan Focus talking about the last game. We're also going to update you on the playoff bracket. We have a game 5 tonight in the American League playoffs and a game 5 tomorrow night as well. So that's all coming up. So we'll take a time out. When we come back, we're going to preview game 5 of the National League Division Series next here on the Hello Chicago Network. It's gonna be interesting when we come back on Friday. If the series is still going, it could end either way by the next time around. But if the Brewers take a 2-0 lead, Cubs backs are completely against the wall. I don't know if they can recover from that, but we'll see. With 2 home games, they play well at home, so we'll see how that goes. So it should be fun. My gut tells me Shota has a really good game when they get to Priester. Then you get to Wrigley, 1-1, all hands on deck. But the Brewers win game 2. It's a complete mess. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, we're back here on the Hello Chicago Network. You saw right there the updated bracket. Dodgers have advanced. They'll either be in Milwaukee on Monday for game 1 of the National League Championship Series, or they'll be hosting the Cubs, which did we even think it was going to be a possibility going in? After being down 2 games, but guess what? The possibility is still there. Game 5 coming your way. Also, there's a game 5 tonight. Tigers with Tyreek Skubal against the Mariners. That the winner of that game will go on to face the Toronto Blue Jays. Phillies, Dodgers eliminated the Phillies, so that was my World Series pick. So they're gone. But I also had the Blue Jays make it in. The Blue Jays limited the Yankees in 4. So that should be a fun series, whoever that is as well. But now what we're focused on is Game 5 National League Division Series in Milwaukee, American Family Field. It's a 7 p.m. start, 7:08 technically. And then we have the game on TBS. Should be fun. No clue who the starters are going to be. So right now, I think overall, when you look at the Brewers side, do they go? I mean, using Freddie, they went all in Game 4. So Freddie Peralta is not going to be available till the National League Championship Series if the Brewers make it. So I think, do you go? I mean, you might have to go Quinn Priester, Jose Quintana in a matchup on 2 days rest. That might be the position they're in, because they went in to win Game 4 with Freddie Peralta and they did not win. So, and then Jacob Mizorowski, do you put him in there? I really want to see the Cubs. I called the Kyle Tucker moment. I tell my dad this. I'm like, Dad, Tucker's going to have his moment. He hit the home run. I think my gut instinct, and I've been wanting this, I've been telling the Brewer fans that I've talked to, I want the Cubs to have another rematch with Jacob Mizorowski. I think the first time he had a great performance, do it twice on the biggest game of your career, in the biggest game in, I wouldn't say it's Brewers history, but in recent history, to be able, you got to come out here, you got to play well. I watched they did a watch along on ESPN Milwaukee, and I watched it this morning, and they were talking about it, who's going to be, and none of the options are good, they say. I mean, when you're going Priester and when you're going Priester, Quintana on short rest, and then Mizorowski, you don't want to bring in Mizorowski to set the tone, but you're going to have to go on short rest, and it's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to step up for the Brewers, because my gut feeling in this one is that the Cubs get to Mizorowski and get the big punch. Cubs have scored in the first inning in every one of these games. I think they need to set the tone and do it again. You can't predict that to happen depending on who's going to be the starter for Milwaukee, but I think the Cubs have to come out, and because the Brewers, they still got that home field advantage. And with that momentum can easily turn. So I think the Cubs need to put that, the crowd's going to be on edge, a lot of pressure on the Brewers. I think, and the same Brewer fan, shout out to Joey, who's the PA announcer for the Kenosha Kingfish. I worked with him for a year. And I give him kudos. He messaged me after Game 2. And he's like, I was going to message you anyway. And I'm like, yeah, it's probably because the Brewers are up 2-0. But he messaged me right after the game last night when it was 2-2. And he thinks, I said the pressure's all on Milwaukee. He thinks it's on the Cubs. I don't think the Cubs have any pressure here. They're facing the number 1 seed at their ballpark on the verge of possibly blowing a 2-0 playoff series. I think the pressure's all on Milwaukee. They got shut out in Game 4. I think the Cubs are going in there loose. It's going to be fun. It's going to be an absolutely unbelievable atmosphere. Now you're looking from the Cubs pitching standpoint, and there's a sliver, not maybe even be smaller than that, but the fact that Cade Horton, I mean, if someone got placed on the IL and couldn't play the rest of the playoffs, Cade Horton can come back. He is having a throwing session today. It doesn't seem, no one's bringing in that option. No one's talking about that option, but they did say he'd be eligible to come off the IL Game 5 of the DS, and the fact that there is one is crazy. And then you have so he said he'd be ready for the championship series. That could add a wrinkle, and we're not going to get into the championship series because might not even be a thing. So we'll go to that. Cubs starter. Where do the Cubs go here? And in all honest opinion, some people are seeing Shota. I don't think you want to trust Shota to start this game. Love the guy, but just the way he's pitched recently, I don't. You can't go into a Game 5, Craig. I hope you use your brain on this one. I think this Cubs would already have this series wrapped up if Shota don't start Game 2. I think that's where we're looking, but they did. You can't have it here. You probably got to go Colin Ray, Savali, and then you have Ben Brown, and then maybe Shota out of the bullpen to try to get the lefties out. but you can't have show to start. I think that whoever's bullpen does better, obviously, is going to win this game, and we'll see who will give the crushing blow. But Game 5, National League Division Series, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be nerve wracking. I've had to watch. Last night's game I watched. I watched at work. I watched a few of them at work. I've watched some in my dark bedroom, lights off, blanket, just like ugh. And this one, first time gonna get it. We're doing a family, and we were planning this last Sunday. I'm like, I still felt that there was going to be a Game 5. They're only down 1-0. So it's going to be fun. Be able to watch this game with my dad. First game of the playoffs. Get a chance to watch with my dad. Hopefully, it's going to be great. And again, we're Cub fans that live in Wisconsin, so this means a lot to us to try to beat the Brewers. I'm so proud of this team either way. The two things I did not want were the Cubs to get swept by the Brewers, or for the Brewers to celebrate at Wrigley, because I've already seen that, and they're not going to do either one. Game 5 is going to be fun. Who's going to manage it more? I think the Cubs have the momentum. I don't think they have any pressure. I think the pressure's all on Milwaukee. So if you can come out of the box and continue that, give them that pressure, it's going to be tough. So it's going to be fun. We'll have a full recap coming up on Monday's show. We'll do, and then we'll base it off of there. Blackhawks have started their season. We'll get into that whenever the Cubs say their season's over. The Bears play Monday night, so we won't be recapping that until we're probably not going to preview it, but we will be recapping it on Friday. And so Cubs are taking over Hello Chicago Network until they tell us they're done, and hopefully they're not done yet. So Monday, recap Game 5 of the National League Division Series, and winner take all. Should be fun. If you're going to the game, enjoy. I don't know if I could deal with a Game 5. I mean, I went to the 1-game playoff at Wrigley, a 1-game wild card against the Rockies, and even though the Cubs lost, best game I've ever been to because of the atmosphere. Everyone have a great weekend. Enjoy Game 5. Don't forget to subscribe to the Hello Chicago Network YouTube channel. 39 followers. Would love to get that 40th. Don't forget to also to click on or like the video, comment. Love to hear from you as well. So everyone have a great weekend. We're back Monday at 3:12 Central or 3:15 on Raise the Bar TV. I'm Ryan Yanishadis from the Hello Chicago Network. And ladies and gentlemen, we are the focus of Chicago sports.